Hi, in this video, we'll take a deeper look at digital certificates and certificate authorities. Security certificates are used to verify that a site can be trusted. These certificates are issued by a certificate authority. You can view the certificate for any site. A valid certificate will pose no security threat and will be displayed by your browser. An invalid certificate will cause your browser to send you an alert. There are a few reasons why a certificate may cause a concern. It could just be expired, or it could have been revoked due to fraudulent or suspicious activity. You can check a website certificate. The specific process to do this varies by browser, but you're able to view many details such as when the certificate expires, the name of the certificate authority that issued the certificate, and the algorithm used to establish the public key. There is a designated port that handles checking for digital certificates. When HTTPS is used, the web page that you request is checked to make sure that it includes a valid certificate and is signed by a trusted certificate authority. If a certificate check passes inspection, the information is sent back to port 443. Public keys are included within a digital certificate. When a digital certificate is issued, the certificate authority validates the public key and binds it to the certificate. The private key remains locked and secure, while the public key is pinned to the SSL certificate. Whenever the browser connects to the server sends its certificate, which also contains the public key. There are different types of certificates based on the number of domain names or subdomains owned. A single certificate will only secure one domain or one subdomain. For example, a site like www.yourdomain.com would be covered by the certificate. A wildcard certificate will secure one domain name and an unlimited number of its subdomains. For example, the certificate would apply to yourdomain.com and then also any subdomain, such as info.yourdomain.com and shop.yourdomain.com. Lastly, a multi-domain certificate secures multiple domain names. This certificate would apply to yourdomain.com and then yourseconddomain.com. Even a domain with a different top-level abbreviation would be covered, such as yourdomain.org. The main reason why an SSL certificate is used is to keep sensitive information encrypted, so that only the intended receiver can access it. So it's critical that any site that stores or displays confidential information needs one of these certificates. This includes sites that require a login and a password, any site that stores financial information or personal data, and then legal documents and medical records also need to be encrypted and protected. You might be able to purchase a certificate from the website provider that is hosting your site. If this is not possible, or if you want further options, you'll have to research and choose a trusted certificate authority. The role of the CA, or web host, is to first verify your identity and make sure your site is legitimate. Then you will be issued a certificate. Certificate authorities are also responsible for authenticating certificates and maintaining status information, such as when the certificate expires and needs to be renewed. This is similar to how your driver's license or passport needs to be renewed periodically. This ensures that the certificate is up to date and the identity and legitimacy is rechecked every so often. If you see a notification such as this one, do not visit the site. Cybercriminals can take advantage of expired certificates and gain information from the site's users. A revoked certificate should raise an even bigger red flag. Revoking your certificate is when a previously signed certificate is invalidated and can no longer be used for authentication purposes. Some reasons this might happen could be that the private key has been lost, stolen, or compromised, the domain name has changed, or the website is no longer in service. A certificate can also be revoked if the domain owner fails to adhere to policy requirements set by the CA. Sometimes it may not even be the fault of the domain owner, but rather the certificate authority itself has been compromised. Recall that a man-in-the-middle attack is a type of cyber attack where an imposter inserts him or herself into a conversation between two parties. This is a valid concern with respect to the role of a certificate authority. Luckily, there are certain strategies and techniques that help to avoid this from happening. The chain of trust refers to the way that an SSL certificate is linked back to a trusted certificate authority. In order for a certificate to be trusted, it has to be traceable through a chain of intermediate certificates before it even gets to the CA's root certificate. There could be one or multiple intermediate certificates. This increases the level of trust since there are multiple checks on the certificate. You can think of it as someone vouching for you. Let's say you are the server certificate and you want to convince a new friend that you are a really good surfer. They might not take your word for it, so you pull in your brother, the intermediate certificate, who vouches for you and says that your word can be trusted. Your new friend still isn't convinced, so you call over your mom, the root certificate, who shows photos of you surfing. Stapling is another way to determine whether or not an SSL certificate is valid. This method can be compared to receiving a sort of stamp of approval. The certificate authority digitally signs a time-stamped validation and bundles or staples it to the certificate. This allows the server to skip the chain of trust and provide its own valid status. The timestamp prevents the server from tampering with the CA's validation. This method helps to load websites faster and increase SSL connection speeds. It also prevents users from sending sensitive browsing information or data to third parties. One more layer of security can be added by utilizing certificate pinning. Once a certificate or public key is known or seen for a host, the certificate or public key can be pinned to the host. Pinning increases security by verifying that the server certificate matches the pinned certificate. When a user first visits a site, they would receive the pinned information. On their next visit, their browser would compare the certificate to the one that they have pinned. If it matches, then the site can be trusted. Alright, well now it's your turn to dive deeper and explore more about these concepts.